Here at the garden, April 12th, I'm going to show off the different varieties that we're growing and how they're doing. It is the morning. The sun has not even really come up all the way. This garden gets about 8 hours of sunlight, maybe 7 hours down on the end. It's a little more shade because of the trees, but they seem to be doing fine. So we're mostly growing beefsteaks. There's a couple of cherry tomatoes. The beefsteaks we're growing mostly 3 or 4 stems up a single stake. The cherries we let go a little more wild. These were planted by seed on January the 9th. We put them in the garden on February 24th, and it's now April 12th. So they've been in the garden a good long time, and here for Austin, I planted really early. And that's just because the beefsteaks, they quit producing when it gets above 90. The flowers stop turning into fruit, and you're pretty much just growing what's on the plant at that point. So you got to get them in the ground pretty early because that 90-degree temperature, for us hits in May, and that's basically the short window you have to grow. So our varieties, this first one is a Sungold. It's the biggest one in the garden. We've actually attached some separate stakes to help grow all of the stems. The cherries we do let go a little crazy, and at this point in the season, you can see we've got our tomatoes down low, and there's other ones there and other ones back there, and it's just full of tomatoes. It's a very productive variety. My wife loves it. The next one we have is a Wes. This is a new one to us. It's a heart variety. We like hearts. We've grown them in the past. It's a pretty big plant also. Grows a little wispy and floppy at times, but it's doing really well. It's got some tomatoes down low, and you can see the next set here is already starting, and we've got some tomatoes there and lots of blooms. So we expect it to be quite productive. This next one is smaller than the plants around it. You can see it's called a Bear Creek, and it's a cross between Brandywine and Cherokee Purple, which we love both of those. So this was a neat one for us to try. Absolutely stacked with tomatoes and blossoms. It's very productive at this point in the season, so we're thrilled. This is one of the biggest plants also, kind of like the Sungold. This one is a Rose de Berne. It's our first time growing it. We think it's going to be kind of a pink, substitute for a Brandywine. We're just trying it out. We like Brandywine, so we're doing that. And if you look in there, it's got a nice fruit set. There's another one a little higher up. There's even some more. It's a little blurry there, but another one forming there. It's doing very well. This is a new one to us called Federle, paste tomato, and it looks very wispy and kind of weak and floppy, but I think that's just a characteristic of the plant. It's very late to start. It had some blossom drop issues, but you can see now we've got a fruit forming there. They look kind of like peppers, but they're paste tomatoes. We have some others here that are just getting going. So this one's going to be much later. We've got 4 stems, and you can see I've got a secondary stake here that some of these are going to grow up onto. But we're optimistic it'll get us some paste tomatoes, and we actually have 2 of these in the garden. This one here is our Lillians yellow. We normally don't love the mildness of the yellow tomatoes. This one I've heard is a little more traditional tomato flavor, so we're trying it. It's smaller than most of the plants. It's got a couple of tomatoes down there, if I can kind of show them. Lots of blossoms that have been here for ages and haven't really turned, so this one's definitely later than almost all the other ones, and the productivity is in question. We just don't know if we're going to end up getting more tomatoes or a lot more tomatoes off of this one or not. So we're waiting to see. This is Lucky Cross. It's a bicolor tomato. We got a few down there. There's some more, a couple more on the next set. So I guess there's 5 tomatoes, maybe 6 tomatoes on this plant at this point, so not crazy productive, but you know, it's a big plant, it's healthy, and we expect to get some more out of it. This last one here is a Bear Creek, I'm sorry, it's a Black Krim. We love the dark tomatoes, and this one's just really productive. Lots of tomatoes kind of all throughout. We're excited about that one. We had it last year. It was productive also, so it's a staple in the garden. This is our other cherry tomato. It's Sungold on the far end, and on this corner we have Ron's Carbon Copy. We've grown it before. We like it. It's got plenty of tomato clusters coming in. It usually produces later than Sungold. The tomatoes aren't quite as big. We like it though. It's a dark, hence the name Carbon Copy. It's a darker variety. And as far as cherries go, we like that one. This is an Aunt Ginny's. And you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stems that I'm doing on there. This one was the most susceptible to blossom drop this year. That was the only one on the first thing that made, and it still hasn't really taken off. A little higher up, we've got a tomato. It's later because of that blossom drop from the cold nights. The other plants weren't affected the same way. But lots of blossoms now. We're hoping it'll catch up. Last year we grew this and liked it, so going to give it a little more time, but it looks to be a bit later than some of the others. This is Thornburn's Terracotta, new one to us, and we're feeling good about it. It's got you know, some tomatoes there. It's got a lot on the first set, some there. I'm not sure if I can show you that first set. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the bunch. So this one's turned into a pretty big plant. Also, you know, 4 stems we're growing on this one. It's doing great. This is our, can I get in there? It's Cherokee purple. I don't know if you can see it through the onions. Cherokee purple. This is a staple for us. And you can see we've got tomato clusters there. And when we look down here, I mean, that's probably the furthest along of all the beefsteaks we're growing. But lots of tomatoes, lots of blooms, always does fantastic. We love it. Paul Robeson is another dark tomato that I really love. Some of the best tomatoes I've had were Paul Robeson's. Some years we've had trouble growing it with just bad seed. This year it looks like we're good. It's good set down low, and there's plenty of other tomatoes kind of dispersed through the plant. Healthy. Here's our other Federle. Again, this one's later, but you can see some tomatoes coming on. Plenty of 4 stems on this one as well. So another paste. This is our green zebra. We really like green zebra. And it's got kind of tomatoes, you know, interspersed throughout. It's doing great. And the last one is supposed to be a Brandywine cowlick, but the leaves are regular leaf. Are those regular leaf? Potato leaf? They look kind of potato, kind of regular. I'm not sure if this is a stable or a different variety. We're just kind of waiting to see what we get. But it's late, but it finally did get some tomatoes coming on. You can see some there. There's little ones down at the lower set. So those are the 16 tomato plants we have in our garden. This is a 16 by 4 foot bed. So we have these each about 2 feet apart. And as I said, there's about 4 stems on most of the plants. We have a few that have 3, just because I wanted to kind of see the difference in productivity and size of fruit, you know, kind of as a test. But most of them have 4. And, you know, I expect that we'll be getting into some ripe tomatoes here in a few weeks. All right, that's it. Signing off from Austin, Texas. Looks like it's going to be a great day.